Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery in our podcast studio today with Carl Green from Easton Foundations. And we are here to talk to Carl about the National Archery Scholarship Tour. Carl, tell us what that is.
Thanks, PJ. The National Archery Scholarship Tour is an effort that we've created to create more access to archers around the country, bring more archers into the sport, give more archers a reason to stay in the sport, and to create a larger perceived value in the sport. How can we motivate these archers to continue with their education? How can we help parents feel like they're investing in their children rather than just spending money on archery equipment and chasing them around the country all the time?
So tell us how this is going to work. What will the tour entail, and then how do people access it?
Okay, the scholarship tour started off this year. We kind of did a soft start. We just did it across the 3 Easton centers. We did 3 indoor, and we've had 3 outdoor. We've already held 2. We have 1 more left on August 5th in Chula Vista. The 3 indoor tournaments were all independent tournaments. It's a little bit different format than some other events, but very similar. You'll find some pieces similar to World Archery rules, some similar to the NFAA style rules, but there's a qualification round and then a finals event where all the archers shoot in their divisions for a qualification round, and the whole purpose of that qualification round is to make the top 8 positions. The top 8 then move into a finals event, and the finals event is not a head-to-head elimination, it's more of a survival round, where all 8 archers shoot. It doesn't matter whether you were ranked 1st or 8th. They're all even when they go into this finals round. All 8 archers shoot 1 end of arrows, and the lowest score drops. They're placed 8th. You shoot another end, the lowest score drops. So it's a game of survival.
Yeah.
If you have a bad end, as long as you weren't the lowest score, you can reset and you go into the next end. You do not carry anything. Each end is its own match. We've had some very talented archers that have shot on a high level, already shot more than a couple of these tournaments with us, and their response back was it was more intense than any finals they had ever shot, but a lot more fun. So I thought that was a very interesting perspective.
Yeah.
How can it be more intense and more fun? But that was their words. So it's a little bit different take on it, but they had a lot of fun with it. All top 8 positions are guaranteed a minimum of $100 scholarship. So if you're in the top 8, you're going to be recognized.
Right.
So far in the first 5 events, like I said, we did a soft launch this year with them. We've already given back, I was told the other day, I think it's right at $20,000 this year in scholarships. And the way we've created the scholarship piece is really unique. People have won scholarships, and then they have to wait years until they go to college, and then how do they access their money? With this one, you have 2 ways of accessing the money. It can either be paid directly to your educational institution, or you can have it deposited directly into your own 529 educational savings account. So you don't have to wait for years for that money to be realistic to you. Have it put into your educational savings account. Took a while to get that certification and approval to do it like that, but this is something that it will help families. They can go to trade school, they can go to a university, whatever, post-secondary school, but it gives them options to do it, and they don't have to worry about remembering it in 5, 6, 7 years. They can go ahead and have that money put in there. But the purpose of this tour is to get more archers involved. How do we get more archers involved? Well, access is a big hurdle. Everyone can't travel all over the country. I know this year we only had 6, and you had to travel to get to them if you didn't live nearby one of the centers.
Right.
The many competitions, many organizations, you have to be a member of their organization in order to register and participate in their tournament. We are supportive of many organizations in the archery community, and we want to continue that support. But we purposely did not partnership with any organization because we wanted it open. We wanted it to be, you could register for this tournament. If you've never been to a tournament, you want to register, you still have to follow the rules, you still have to have the equipment check, and we have to make sure everything's on the up and up. But we removed the hurdles. You can come participate in it. If you can get there, you can participate. And that's the reason there was no partnership. I've been questioned over and over. Why did you not partner with so-and-so? Why did you not partner with this group? It was not to be competitive with them. I hope they're all going to have to struggle and come to the table to figure out how to handle the growth in archery.
Yeah.
And that's my goal. That's my only goal, is to inspire growth in archery.
And in the tournament, what age range are we talking about for competition?
The scholarship divisions are the 14 and under, and then we have a 19 and under, and then we have a 20 to 30-year-old collegiate division. Now, to participate in the collegiate division, your only eligibility requirement is that you are registered in a post-secondary school. You do not have to be full-time. You do not have to be a part of a college team or a program. You just have to be registered in a post-secondary school. Now, if you're 20 years old and older and you're not in school, you can shoot as an adult, and you're supporting the mission. You're promoting this program, and we've had several adults that have already shot in multiple events, and they all have a blast doing that. But this is an opportunity for the adults to give back to the youth.
And so, as you mentioned, the end game is to inspire growth in archery. We want more archers, give them access. We know tournaments are fun. Some people have never been to one. What's it all about? We want to see more people shooting competitively. As we were talking earlier, lots of people shoot in their backyards. We want to see people get into archery as a sport, competition. That's, what we want to see more people doing. And so far with the tournaments you've had, what kind of participation has there been? Like, what are some of the numbers from some of the events?
I think our highest number was around 70 this year.
Okay. Gotcha.
And we've got tremendous support from many coaches around the country wanting to come.
Sure.
A lot of them had already set their schedules for this year, which is understandable. And you're starting off a program with current competitive archers versus bringing in new archers. This last tournament that we had in Salt Lake was a great tournament, and we had people come from all over the country, even though the numbers were still the 50, somewhere around there. I don't remember the exact number. But they're talking about putting the whole tour on their schedule next year. And that's great for people that can afford to travel around. We want them there, and they're the ambassadors around this country. But these kids coming, and the word of mouth, we need to market, we need to promote it, we need to get it out there. But where it's at is individuals telling each other, sharing it on their social media, sharing it with their friends, trying to get more people into the sport, bringing people into it, giving them a less intense opportunity to try it out.
Yeah.
They don't have to be part of everything already. It's as archers, we're the world's worst people at sharing what we love. When I started in archery, I had no idea there was an organized archery. I just shot in the backyard with my dad.
Yep.
We shot a fiberglass bow that was found somewhere on a job in an old attic my dad was remodeling, and I started shooting with him in the backyard, and we shot whatever arrows was on sale at Kmart after Christmas. And I had no idea what spine meant, length meant. You shot what you could find. And that was my love for archery. I don't remember when I first started shooting as a kid. But I never knew how to get involved in archery. My dad didn't know how to get involved in archery. I remember being amazed when I saw something you could put a sight on a bow.
Right.
Had no idea. So I think I bought my first compound in the mid-90s after I'd gotten married. 80-pound PSE Precision Edge. I mean, that bow was a beast, and I loved it. And I figured it out. Gouge's archery shop in Hazelhurst, Georgia, sold me my first bow. Nice. And he let me watch him set it up. And I loved the detail of it, setting it up. He showed me how to set sight and told me I was welcome to go out back and use his target. That was my introduction to more modern archery, if you will.
Right.
And I had to figure it out. But you couldn't find information. You couldn't figure out where to go. If you called the shop, they say, they're having a 3D tournament down at the club in town here. Well, that was an hour and a half away.
Right.
And I don't think we've improved, but I don't think we've gotten a lot better at sharing the sport. We tend to think everybody knows what we're talking about or knows that we're involved. And that's just not so. We need to share it.
We were talking about some of the hurdles that you see, that we see in archery. Talk about that a little bit. Some of the things, in schools and with parents, what their perception is of archery if they don't already know about it.
Yeah, with parents in archery, I started out with starting a 4-H club and getting kids involved in that. Yeah. And the challenges of getting targets to even shoot, have a club, getting parents to buy their kids equipment. There's so many hurdles of just getting off the ground. Once you get them into the sport and they love it, then they start finding ways to participate, to move forward with it. But how do we get them started with that? How do we help clubs outside the scholarship towards like the partnership that we had with Lancaster with the matching grant? That's part of helping clubs get off the ground, get them going. We did a grant to S3DA this year for to do a test run on a target purchase program, which gave them seed money to help fund and help clubs purchase targets. Where basically they have a year to pay off their targets. They get a discounted range. They have a year to pay off their targets. That money can be rotated within the organization. This is all part of helping remove the hurdles. When I started the first program, it was me. It was me and a couple of other parents that we were trying to come up with money just to buy targets. They all had to buy their equipment. But, hey, you need a target. You need a place to shoot. Where can you shoot? We were shooting behind chicken houses. We were shooting in the cornfield after they had plowed it under. We finally were given permission to shoot at an old open building at the industrial park. We were always begging for a place to shoot. Yeah. When you tell them it's a bunch of kids shooting bows and arrows, they think, oh, no, you're not shooting at my place.
Right.
But that's part of also educating your community that we're not destructive. We're not coming in destroying things. So it's accessibility to a place to shoot, what to shoot, how do clubs get started, how do they manage their programs, how can we bridge some of these gaps, what can we do there?
It's funny you mentioned that about 4-H because I just last weekend was driving down the road past the 4-H center near my house, and I saw them shooting bows. They had an organized archery program that I've never seen at that facility before. I've never seen them shooting bows before. I've been driving past it all my life. So it seems like they're picking it up, and I know through our Lancaster Archery Foundation, that's one of the things that we're trying to do, encourage new programs to pop up, more people we have in archery. Hopefully they'll come looking for stuff like the National Archery Scholarship Tour. And so your tour is to get around the country to the different places to give people opportunity. The scholarship part, I'm guessing, is to offer some incentive to get these people to come out.
Yeah, the scholarship piece itself it can be accumulated, so you can win multiple scholarships. And by the time your child graduates school or even in college, they could have thousands of dollars in scholarship money that they could use at any school for post-secondary education. This year we're going to change. This coming year, we're trying to finalize the plans on changing the indoor portion. So how do we give more access, but how do we also grow the scholarship amounts to be credible amounts,
gotcha.
Instead of basically equal to your registration fee coming back at you. So this year we're looking at, we're going to be growing how many locations the indoor will be. So we're trying to build some partnerships there to be able to offer it around the country. And the indoor will end up being just a qualification round and at multiple sites and then combined for the scholarship.
Okay.
And the goal there would be then when we get to, say, 2,500, 3,000, whatever that magic number is that we realistically can come up to, then we can implement a national championship where the top 8 would get an invitation to come out and shoot a national championship for a much more grand prize there. But
which is similar to what USA Archery does with their annual National Indoor Championship. It's shot all over the country, and then finalists come together.
Yes, very similar to that, being able to shoot it in multiple places. Being able to do it in more places and having it combined would give us the ability to reduce the registration fee and then increase the scholarship amounts. Long-term vision is to build this program, to build a whole movement out of this tour, and implement a national formal recognition banquet, awards banquet. And let's start celebrating. Let's start celebrating these accomplishments and recognizing them on a national stage, rather than just saying "great job," pat them on the back, and here's your medal. That's every organization has its uniqueness and its ability. I mean, you've got USA Archery; their goal is the Olympics. You've got NFAA with all of them, and they do a lot of the world stuff there and championship stuff there. ASA, they've all got a tremendous ability to promote, and they're part of the sport. How can we grow the whole sport? Every one of these organizations are welcome to come to our events and set up their booth and share their information. That's what this is about, is to grow every organization and not exclude any organization, but to include and help every organization grow. Every archer is going to find the pathway that they want to take. They're either going to love target, they're going to love 3D, they're going to love field. And I think it's our responsibility to make sure they understand what their options are and encourage them.
That's one of the cool things I think about archery, is that there are all these different games, if you will, that you can play, with the bow and arrow. 3D, you mentioned them all, 3D field, indoor. For people who, so what we're seeing across archery, we talked about this, is we see kids get into archery and then we see them drop out at somewhere along the line. And that's one of the issues. We want to draw new people to the sport as well, but we also want to try and keep the ones that we have. Talk about that a little bit. What kind of things we're seeing as far as where they're going, dropping out, and we probably don't know where they're going.
Well, we see a lot of growth. We see a lot of youth programs that are having record numbers. We're seeing national level events with record numbers. But if you look at the details of these numbers, you've got in just the two recent events that we held with Gator Cup down in Florida and SoCal out in California, you've got a 60%, 50 to 60% drop from the U18 division to the U21 division.
Right.
So even though overall there's a growth, there's still a drastic drop from one age to the next. And face it, these kids, when they get to high school and they're fixing to graduate high school, they've got other interests. Parents are trying to figure out how they're going to send their kids to school.
Right.
How are they going to move into their career? And face it, archery's not going to pay for that. So what do? That's the first thing that gets dropped.
That's the expendable one.
That's what gets dropped the easiest.
Yeah.
Well, how can we change that? How can we make archery a higher priority? How can we keep people in this? And how can we change that perceived value to the point that more people want to be part of it, not just stay in it? I think on our national level events could be so much more than what they are now, but we have to increase opportunities if we want to see growth.
That's the big thing I've heard Rob here talk about, is that opportunity. You could have all these kids out there with an interest in archery. They don't have a place to do it. They don't know about it. They don't know anything about getting into it. So yeah, and then with your tour coming around, hey, that's one more opportunity for somebody to hear about archery and develop an interest.
I mean, I would love to grow the tour to where we have one in every single state. Why not? My goal, some people told me I'm crazy, but I think I'm extremely realistic. My goal is to be doing $1 million a year in scholarships. I think that's very realistic. I see no reason why we can't do that. But it does have to get off the ground. It does have to grow. It creates momentum, and we have to build it in stages. And we love the feedback. We love the positive and the negative feedback. That's how we know what to make. We made changes this year mid-year. We added barebow. We started out with just recurve and compound, Olympic recurve and compound. We added barebow because we were getting a lot of feedback. Now those people that were giving us the feedback still haven't rose to the occasion. So, but we added it. We added it, and we're looking at big spins or bow hunter division. We're looking at doing that maybe next year.
Gotcha.
Like I said, we want all of these people at the table. We want their feedback. but they have to show up to the event and prove what they're talking about.
You bet.
I think in the college level, and a lot of this started at the college level. How do we grow college archery? Well, you got to increase opportunities. And there are different restrictions on participation on the collegiate level. So how do we create an opportunity without the restrictions? And I know I helped Georgia Southern down in Georgia start their first archery program.
Oh, okay.
And whenever we started that, it was a blast getting it started. And a couple of guys that they were just really hungry. The ones that really want to start something have the most drive.
Yes.
And the college wouldn't even let them on campus. They couldn't take a bow on campus at all. So they either shot at my indoor range in my shop, or they shot in my backyard at home. They were at my house at midnight with all the floodlights on, shooting out from under my garage, trying to get ready for tournaments because the college wouldn't let them on campus. Well, we went from that to, say, the next year, they finally, while school was out of session, they let us have a 900 round under the lights on the fields that were closed down, and no one was on campus. That way we couldn't hurt anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
And the school couldn't believe so many people showed up to shoot. And it was a Friday night under the lights. It was a blast. It was cold. We had Brunswick stew and hot chocolate and coffee, and it turned out really well. And it gave the school a positive experience.
Yeah.
So the archery community came and helped change that perspective. Not long after that, they finally said, okay, we're going to give you a practice space on campus, but it can only be after 8 o'clock at night on the far corner field under the lights. So we took it. It was great. We had a blast. The kids would get out there at night. They left the lights on for us, and we'd get out there shooting. We were right next to a big bypass, so we had a lot of people would drive by at night seeing us out there shooting. But that came a long ways from you couldn't even drive through campus with one in your trunk. So, and then later on, they were approached about building a shooting center. And today, they have the Georgia Southern Educational Shooting Sports Education Center on campus with an indoor gun range and archery range. And they just held the USA Archery's Collegiate National Championship there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that's come a long ways in the last 12 years, because we started that program around 2010 when it started. So you can change things. You can grow this. You can build this. You can create opportunities, but you have to get them started. And I think if more schools, high schools and colleges valued the archers and realized that what they were bringing to the table and the opportunities they were creating, we would hear more support from that. Well, what I learned in that college program is that out of maybe 10 or 12 kids on the team, there were another 200 that were bow hunters that had bows at home, but they couldn't be on the program. Maybe they were going to school part-time and working part-time, or maybe they just didn't think they were a competitive archer.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if we create that opportunity to where, hey, they can pick up their hunting bow and they can come shoot a college level tournament and earn scholarship money. Well, once they start doing that, then it's like, our school doesn't have an archery program, so start one.
Right.
So charter an archery program, get a team started at your college. That's where this is going.
Yeah.
It's just opening the door and creating that opportunity.
It's interesting because, you talk about the school saying, we don't want anybody to get injured. Someone is way more likely to get injured playing football than shooting a bow and arrow. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the statistics. I know I have seen them that, archery is less likely to cause an injury than, there's lots of crazy things out there. It's pretty safe is the point of it. Than, those other more traditional sports, way more likely to get injured there than shooting a bow and arrow. It's pretty safe.
Yes. And that's like we were talking earlier. It's a lack of education.
Right.
It's a lack of education about archery. And programs like NASP, OAS, the S3DA, they're really good at helping to program the population to not be scared of archery.
Yeah.
These programs are extremely credible at laying the foundation and opening doors for archery to even grow, to have opportunities. If we didn't have these programs, we would have even more people scared of the sport.
That's a scary thought. I hadn't thought about that.
Every program has a part to play in the sport and where it stands in the communities. And that's nothing, you can't underestimate any of those. If you look at 4-H, I mean, I started with the Georgia 4-H program, all because my son came home and wanted to be on the 4-H program, and 2 moms had agreed to start the 4-H club. I knew one of them, so I gave him a call and said I'd be more than happy to help. All I'd ever done is figure it out on my own, and I'd bought a bow for my wife and my kids, and we shot in the backyard, and they said, yeah, great. But you got to go to a level 2 training or a level 1 training. I said, sure, I'll do it. And I went to the level 1 class, and I was intimidated as all get. I had never been so intimidated. And this wasn't even my job. I was just going to learn how to teach archery. And we got there, and it was a husband and wife team teaching the class that weekend. And I kept thinking they looked familiar. And then come to find out, the man's wife and I had rode the school bus together in elementary school. And we were talking about it. And she said, you know, we had a 4-H archery program when we were in school. I never knew about it.
Huh.
Again, archery is a secret.
Yeah.
No one wants to share it. But I was a sponge. I loved archery, just never been part of anything organized. So I was a sponge, and I just kept growing from there, and opportunities, and I had my own companies. This was not my business.
Right.
This was just fun, and I loved it. And my kids got in it. I blame it on my son all the time for getting me back into it. But the 4-H program, we grew a huge 4-H program in Georgia, and I thought every state was the same if you said 4-H. And then I got out a little bit and realized they're not all the same.
Yeah.
But they all have a credible contribution to the overall sport. And you've got 4-H, you've got Scouts, you've got multiple programs that we don't even think about on a daily basis. And they all have a critical role to play in laying a foundation for the opportunity.
Yeah. And one of the things that we all want is for people to get that opportunity and then latch onto it and then stick with it. And then, then we have more archers in the country. Well, Carl, where do people go to learn more about your tours?
We do have a website that's called archeryscholarshiptour.com. So you can go there, you can read about it, you can submit inquiries if you would like to there. You can contact me. Most people that are already in the archery community know how to contact me, but you can contact us through the website if you would like to do that. And submit questions. We have Facebook pages. It's the National Archery Scholarship Tour Facebook and Instagram pages. We've been posting pictures on there from the tournaments, and we've had some ambassadors, some phenomenal coaches in the industry that have latched onto it, and they really love it. And we're extremely grateful of all the support that we've been given from coaches and parents already, and the expectations that are out there. It seems like every event I go to, I get more and more inquiries, more and more people coming up to me saying they've heard about it. Someone told them about it. So it's never grows as fast as I want it to. I have two perspectives. One is my dream rocket perspective, that I want it to get there quick. Yeah. And the other is the realistic side that knows I have to build the foundation. we have to take it step by step. But we're going to get there. And there's a huge vision ahead for the scholarship tour. And like I said, any organization that's out there, they are welcome to come set up an information booth at our events and share their information.
And you're here representing Easton Foundations, and of course, you're kind of living proof of what it can be with your Newberry Center, where they hold the Gator Cup, one of the national USAT events, Chula Vista Olympic Training Center. I mean, we're talking about getting people involved in archery, but that's what it can progress to. Hey, you can train for the Olympics one day, potentially. Hopefully compound. That's another subject. But so I mean, we just want to see people get out there and shoot their bows, and in competition. That's kind of the key to it. Just get them into that archery as a sport.
Yes, and the growth is phenomenal. It's great to see it grow and create these opportunities. I'm no professional in the golfing industry, but I believe the reason you have so many golfers is because you have so many opportunities.
For sure.
People don't practice just to practice. They want to go play a game.
Yeah.
It may be just you and I out there challenging each other, but the competition is natural.
Yeah.
And you have to have those opportunities there. At the SoCal, some of us were talking, and because we've been making changes on how we handle these big events, and it's like, There's a lot of things that we haven't changed since the tournaments were only at 300 people. And now they're at 750, 800 people. We have to adjust, even if that's an adjustment to the registration system, the setup system, all of these pieces. That's just on a tournament level. But how about the whole perspective, the whole sport, industry level? Is we can't always do it the same way. We have to search for these opportunities and create opportunities. We have to get out of our own way sometimes in order to do what needs to be done.
You mentioned golf, and that thought just struck me right where we are right now, Lancaster County. There's more archery ranges in Lancaster County than there are golf courses. But I bet you there's more people playing golf than there are shooting bows. And probably people don't even know some of these clubs they pass by are archery ranges. So, yeah, like you said, man, we got to do a better job of telling people who we are and what we do and why this is cool.
And on the subject of archery ranges, and this could be a whole nother conversation, is we started the project archerypassport.com.
Oh, yeah.
And we started that. If you think of Zillow for real estate, think of Zillow for archery ranges.
Yes.
And I've got one staff person that spent over 18 months, and their sole responsibility was to research and validate archery ranges across the U.S. And we've got over 2,000 documented archery ranges on the website. And so you can go in there and you can find archery ranges. But what we learned along the way is that we have archery ranges that are rotting down because no one knows they're there. We're awful at advertising our own archery ranges.
Yep.
We think everyone knows we're here. We think everyone knows what the opportunity is. And in reality is they have no idea. So people say they need more archery ranges, and they don't realize there's one 10 minutes from their house.
That's for sure.
So how do we change that? Yes, we need more archery ranges. But what good does it do to build them if no one knows they're there?
Yeah.
So you've got a golf course. If a golf course isn't used, what happens? It grows up, becomes a housing development. Yeah. So we have to figure out how to promote our sport, how to share it with people that are not in archery. And we can do that. We have to shift. We have to share it. We have to step out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And quit only talking about archery to other archers.
I like that. And as you mentioned with the scholarship tours, then there's that incentive. How many people continue playing certain sports in hopes of getting some scholarship help through baseball, basketball, football, whatever. Make that available to more archers. It would seem to me you're only going to attract more archers that they want that opportunity too. Because maybe they don't play basketball, don't play football, whatever, but they do shoot. They can shoot a bow and arrow. It's certainly one of those sports that's a more diverse group of people can do it than 7-footers playing basketball.
And we see that all the time. Yeah, you'll see some of our archers that are really good at other sports, but we see archers that have never participated in another sport.
Yeah.
And they would never be on the baseball diamond. They would never be on the football field or a lacrosse field. But now they're involved in a sport. So how do we encourage more of that? I don't know where the statistics are, but I've heard reference to statistics about the decrease in students participating in sports.
Right.
Why is that? And I think they don't see a value there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can blame it on video gaming, and that's got something to do with that. But why do they video game? They're looking for something to do.
Right. Yeah.
And we are something to do. There's something to do there. But if they don't have the opportunity,
there is no bench to sit on. You're shooting your bow. Everybody shoots their bow.
That's very true. No one gets benched. No one gets benched. So that's and with the format that we've created for the top 8 to shoot that finals event, it's almost like 2 events in one.
Yeah, right.
The qualification round gives you the right to shoot in the finals. And some people have said, well, why don't you go down deeper than that? Why don't you go 16? Why don't you go 32? And I was like, why don't we celebrate the top 8?
Yeah.
Give them something give them something to reach for. We're going beyond the top 3.
Right.
We're going beyond the top 3. And the scholarship pool, the way it's been based is 50% of the registration at a minimum goes into the scholarship pool. And then it's divided among the top 8. And the breakdown is first place is 20%, 18, 16. And then it drops to 12%, and then 10, 9, 8, 7.
Gotcha.
When we change around the indoor, it's going to vary a little bit because we're trying to be able to drop the registration fee some to give more opportunity. But that can add up really quick. If you've got 80 or 90 kids in a division, and you're looking at $1,200, $1,500, $1,600.
Yeah, right.
For first place in one event.
In one event,
yes.
Right.
And these can accumulate.
And you said this year there were 6.
Mm-hmm.
You want more. Yeah, that can add up.
So it adds up, and you open up a 529 with your bank and have those deposits going into that 529, and we're no longer responsible for that. That falls under the restrictions of the 529.
Right.
I don't want your money.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope 100% of everyone chooses that option. That's what we really want. We want you to be in power. We want you to be in control of your own education, of your own use of the funding. And let's inspire you to do what's right. We want to inspire kids to get education beyond just high school. And if that's a technical degree, that's awesome. I personally think we need more of them. If it's a doctorate degree, that's great as well. But while you're in college, you can still earn scholarship money.
Yeah.
Because while you're in college, you can keep competing.
We have a Stevens Technical School just down the road here where, they train welders and plumbers and all that. And I mean, people who go there, they go out with jobs, good jobs. I know a bunch of people who've gone through there and their kids, and just, if you can help pay for that, man, what a great way to launch you into a good job, whatever it is.
And a lot of those in that technical school doing the welding degrees and plumbing degrees, they're hunters.
Yeah,
they're hunters.
For sure.
They've got equipment.
Mm-hmm.
They've got equipment. Why not have this equipment outside of hunting season and go seek an opportunity of something that you already love to do and benefit from it?
That's how I got into target archery. I just wanted to shoot my bow. I was like, when I bow hunt, I only shoot once. I'd like to shoot it a bunch. Found Lancaster Archery and started shooting indoor. For people out there, there are lots of archers who may be beyond participating in the scholarship tour. How can they help spread the word? Just tell people about it. Direct them to your website, I would imagine.
Yeah, spread the word. Get it, share it on social media, and go to the National Archery Scholarship Tour social media pages and share that. Share it with your friends. Share it with parents. That there are opportunities for their kids out there. Whether you be in any of the youth programs, we're going to try to get out to some of the national programs next year and share this opportunity and to let them see. There again, This is not a replacement for your organization. This is an opportunity to bridge the gaps between organizations. It's to bridge the gap between those that don't feel like they have an opportunity. It's an exposure. So trying to share that and get it out there, it's really dependent on the people. We can only pay for so much exposure. It really matters. And archery is a tight community. Archers believe each other before they will an advertisement.
Absolutely.
They'll believe each other, and they're very dependent on feedback from each other, and we need that there.
Unless it comes to arrow tuning there, Carl, then there's a big debate about that, but that's a whole separate 10 different ways to do that.
Only 10?
All right, Carl, one more time. Where are folks going to find out more information on the National Archery Scholarship Tour?
You can go to our website, which is archeryscholarshiptour.com. Or you can go to our Facebook pages, which is the National Archery Scholarship Tour, Facebook and Instagram pages.
Gotcha.
To see more pictures and information there.
All right. Well, Carl, we certainly appreciate your time today.
Thank you, PJ.